Good evening, viewers. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. We have Personality of the Week, an author, a public speaker, and a coach, Billal Jamil. Thank you, Billal.
Nice to see you.
Could you tell us and our viewers about your early days and your education?
Yeah, I suppose early days, like lots of people, enjoying the long, hot summers in the UK, playing lots of cricket in the garden with my younger brother, causing mischief on the streets of Sheffield with my friends and out on the mountain bikes, and lots of great memories of early days. And yeah, it's something that reminds me that things haven't really changed, because I'm still causing mischief, but just in different, more mature ways now. So that's my early days, yeah.
And in terms of qualifications, so what degree you have done?
So if I link that back to my early days, I obviously had my schooling in Sheffield, and I was somebody who wasn't quite clear on what I wanted to do when I was at school, and I simply took some science subjects, which was the right thing to do according to my parents at the time. And I went on to study economics in the University of London, Queen Mary University. And that was my first degree. And I ended up in banking, in the banking sector. So when I started the banking sector, I remember watching the people around me and seeing the people day to day and thinking to myself, I can't do this for the rest of my life, because I simply don't want to end up like those particular people. And sometimes in your life, you find out what you want by realizing what you don't want. So I realized I didn't want that, and I started exploring a different career in the civil service. And as part of that career, I was able to enjoy a number of managerial positions. I had an accelerated career, a number of very interesting posts. And I did my MBA at Imperial College in London, which was a great privilege and something I'm very proud of. And my education has never really stopped, to be honest with you. So I still undertake courses. I'm still big on learning. It's something I'm passionate about.
It's quite interesting, working in office, then moving book writing, and then going to public speaking. So how you see the importance of public speaking and confidence of a speaker in career?
So something linking that back to my own learning as I went through my career, I realized that the people who were very good at getting the acknowledgement and getting the praise and the promotions were the people who could express themselves well at meetings. They weren't the kind of people who would sit on their hands and just hide away. Oh, I don't want to speak. They might not like me. That person's falling asleep. That person thinks I'm an idiot. And you would have these inner thoughts. I mean, most people do. You know, we found that in our programs that most people are always haunted by self-doubt. They don't have the confidence to articulate, and those who do aren't necessarily that good at it. So I realized very early on in my career that there were people who were exceptional communicators, and they were the people who were able to get on. And then by a stroke of luck, I took a chairmanship of a large organization within the civil service. And during that particular appointment, I got a lot of training, and I did a lot of public speaking. So I did keynotes, and I shared the stage with some very senior leaders, including the Home Secretary and various other ministers. So that gave me the exposure, and it made me realize that I had some strength in there, but I had, mostly importantly, I had a passion. And my biggest passion is around bringing the potential out in other people, and I'm very passionate about that.
So what is the secret of coming out of the fear of public speaking and presentations? Because some people have habit that, oh, if I'll present this thing, I can't do it. So what is that factor?
You know, I could talk to you for days, never mind hours, but I could talk about the secrets, and there are many secrets. But I think the biggest and the most important is for you to understand and be selfless. So the very best speakers, whether we look at history, whether we look all the way through to Aristotle, the ancient Greeks, the very best speakers are the people who are willing to give. And if you are going beyond your own message, but you're actually giving, and you care passionately about your audience, and you want to empower them, you want them to grow, you want them to do something that is right, you'll become a exceptional speaker. That's one of the tenets of good communication. But obviously there's lots of factors, and in our organization we're always building our portfolio of skills, we're always building our principles, and we're showing, telling, encouraging, demonstrating, and the main thing is the action. You need to have an audience, you need to have the feedback of an expert. If you practice without assistance or support, you practice to become very bad. But where you practice with an expert, you practice to become very good. It's like anything. It's like cricket, or it's like boxing or running or whatever it is. If you play with the experts, you become good. If you play with people who aren't the top, and it's the same in anything in life, you have to be by the company you keep. You're defined by that, and I think that's the same in public speaking.
So how you see that somebody has a good quality of the leadership, but at the same time some people don't have the confidence in speaking in public. So what you will recommend for them? So how they can overcome this fear or this nightmares or whatever you call it?
I think the important thing to recognize is the very DNA of good leadership is communication. The DNA of this is communication. And what I mean by that is, if you're a leader, you need to be able to set a vision. You need to be able to articulate that vision, and you need to be able to communicate that vision so other people understand. The whole point of a leader is to be able to share an ideology, or to say, we are here in A and we need to get to B. We need to move across, and this is the intervention, this is my vision, this is what I want you to do. And to do that, you need to be able to communicate. So whether you're sitting one-to-one, as we are, or whether you're in a group, on a boardroom table, or whether you're standing at a podium with a big seminar and group of people, you need to be able to transfer your message across. So there are, unfortunately, and the reality is 99.9% of people are not excellent communicators. They're very few and far between. In fact, if you look at history, history tells you that the very best communicators are either the political leaders of big movements, so Nelson Mandela, Obama in our age, or in Pakistani history, we look at Bhutto was a fantastic speaker, and we still look at clips and we feel pride. It actually creates emotion in you. And we say, within the Public Speaking Academy, we say, good speakers affect your heart, great speakers cause a movement. And there's phenomenal things that people and humankind has achieved, but if you look at the history, it tells you that the catalyst was when they stood up and they shared their message, not one-to-one, but one-to-many. And in answer to your question, the only way to learn is to do, and to learn from the very best teachers, and that's critical.
Some speakers take help from the verses, or sometimes they take help from some quotations. Is it compulsory that you have to go on that route, or you should concentrate on the subject?
I think it's a good question, and quotes and examples and verses, fantastic if you can remember them correctly. And it's important to be able to use references when you're speaking. At the same time, it's not the be all and end all. It's not that somebody can't be a great speaker without referencing something. You need to be able to use examples, and they can be real life examples. They can be examples. For example, I was speaking at a seminar. We had 100+ people in the seminar room, and I didn't need to use one example. All I needed to do was what was happening inside the room, and I could draw the examples out from what was happening live. So, for example, the question that you give me is a great question. It shows an articulate person asking an articulate question and demonstrates that you yourself are a good speaker. So I'm using an example there live to demonstrate what I'm saying. So it doesn't have to be that you use a quote or you use a reference. You can use examples that are live and happening there and then. That's what stand-up comedians do, and they do that really well. And they're very, very, very funny people.
We'll move forward the subject. We'll change subject. What's about your book? What is the name of your book? And if you want to summarize for our viewers, because the time is the essence in this subject, so we have to keep the time in consideration. So what is the name of your book?
So my book is 6 Steps to Overcoming Public Speaking. It's available on my LinkedIn site, so you can download it, or you can download it on www.publicspeakingacademy.co.uk. And it's about 6 powerful techniques that professional speakers use when they're on stage. So it's sharing those secrets that only professional speakers will use, and I can share one of them, and I'll share it for your viewers as well, and that is about what we call the professional pause. So lots of people think pause simply means that you stop speaking, and that's absolutely right. But a professional pause isn't just about stopping speaking, it's about slowing the word rate right down. When you slow the word rate right down, what you're doing is you're allowing yourself the time as a speaker to think and to reflect on what you're saying. It allows your audience to reflect about what you're putting out there. At the same time, most people will feel nervous. So when you feel nervous, we tell you breathe slowly. But you can't go on the stage and go, you can't do that. It looks silly. But when you speak slowly, and think about Martin Luther King, one of the greatest speakers in history, when he said, I have a dream, he didn't say, I have a dream. He said, I have a dream. And he extended the words, he extended the sentences. And what that does is it allows you to have greater, majestic presence on the stage.
Because our programs are watched by a lot of youngsters and especially parents. How you see that importance of public speaking? Because a lot of time I see that it's very important that our children, and especially in primary school, there should be debates and competition between the children. How you see the importance of this type of training?
I mean, the reality is this, that the one key skill that will differentiate you in the future from being successful to being a leader, a thought leader, an industry leader, a business leader, leader in career, is your ability to communicate. So I think it is an essential skill. It's something that's critical to people who want to be genuinely successful in what they're doing. When you communicate effectively, you don't just sell better, you don't just lead better, you don't just empower your people better. You develop a confidence that nobody else can even touch. So I think the speaking ability is something you do on a daily basis, whether it's in business, whether it's in your career, whether it's even in your family life. So if you do it well, that's great. If you do it absolutely brilliantly, that's essential. And I think it's, for your viewers and for everybody watching at home, it's something that if it's the one skill that you invest in, I'm pretty sure it delivers a huge return. If it's good enough for politicians, I think it should be good enough for everybody.
In Pakistan, schools have all the time, every year they have extracurricular activities, so they have debates, speech competition. Do you think the government should also make part of syllabus some kind of compulsory activities for the children who are good at the dramas or any presentations or public speaking? There should be competitions?
Absolutely. Anything that allows people to become well-rounded character. We don't just want to produce doctors or dentists. We don't just want to produce engineers or lawyers. We need to be contenders in society. Today's society isn't about the old school. We need to move to the next level. We need to think strategically as a community, as a people. There's a need in today's environment more than ever that we need to be able to step up and share our voice as a community, as a people, as a religion, as a wider society. And if we do that with conviction, with clarity, with confidence, as speakers, as good communicators, people start to listen, people start to think differently about your community. And I think I can't emphasize enough that it's one of the key skills that will change how people feel.
We'll come to the lighter subject. So any interesting incident during your career or during the trainings, which you want to share with our viewers?
There's lots of interesting incidents in both as a coach, as a speaker, and during my career. And I think the incident I probably want to share is I was as part of a consultant role. I was invited to a council. I won't tell you which council. It wasn't in Sheffield, but it was a council in the country. And my colleague had called me up and said, Billal, I need you to facilitate this. I said, when do you need to facilitate it? He said, I need you to facilitate it this afternoon. And I said, what do you need to facilitate? He goes, a leadership event. So I said, okay. So there was a number of people from the council of this particular area, leadership event. He said, the pack, the facilitation pack with all the details will be there and you can pick it up. So I turn up and there's no pack, there's no details. He's not answering the phone. I'm there in front of about 80 of the most powerful people in this particular city. And they're all looking at me thinking, so come on, Mr. Jamil, facilitate, start, begin. And I had no notes, I had nothing. I didn't even know what the topic was. And at that point, I think, I'll take a risk. And I ask them all to stand. And I then say, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to cheer from the loudest voice that you can muster. And they do so. And I then stopped them and said, look, the reason I want you to do that is I want you to thank each other for the hard work that you've put in. I want you to grab that feeling and then sit down and do a debrief about all the achievements that you want to be thanked for and share that with the partner. And that killed that got rid of the 30 minutes, that gap. And fortunately, I survived, because it could have been a very embarrassing moment as a coach and consultant where I don't have any particular notes or briefing for this event, but I was able to use the creativity to get away with it. And in fact, they actually called me back for more work with them, so that was great, and they loved it, and it was a happy ending. But yeah, that was something that I shouldn't really share on TV, but there you go.
Good. And now we go for more lighter questions. We call them rapid fire questions. Your favorite food?
My lamb chops. Lamb chops. I love lamb chops. I'm a big meat eater. I'm Pakistani, so I can't help it.
And your favorite place to visit?
Recently, my favorite place is China. And I flew out to China with our work, and it was such an interesting experience, such a great country, and it's completely different to any part of the world I've been in, and I think it's a fantastic, proud culture and a country to watch, really. So yeah, China.
And your favorite player and sport?
My favorite player has to be Imran Khan. Imran Khan, the cricketer, the political leader, the lion of Pakistan. I have to say he's somebody who demonstrates the leadership qualities that Pakistan as a team needed during the World Cup, and the courage that he showed when he'd play established teams in a way that was diplomatic but strength. And I think it's so important to show that, you know, we're not bowing down we're not a colonial nation, we're not apologizing for being Pakistani. We're proud and we're leaders and we're strong, and we have every right to win. And that's what we should have. That's as a mentality, but at the same time, generous and humble and giving. You know, so it's not about being arrogant or brash, or, you know. But I think Imran Khan embodies that. Yeah.
And in terms of any message you want to give to our viewers?
Well, I think we live in interesting times. We live in times where we're continuously, as a community, under scrutiny, and I think in every adversity, in every challenge, there's opportunity. And it's important that we as a society, as a community of people, we come together, we support one another, we work together. We're able to make our contribution, we're able to add value, and selflessness, i.e. doing something for other that is without a request for yourself, is so important. So I think, you know, it is about working together, it's about getting out there, and making a difference in our society, because our society needs that, and not just our society, but wider society. We need to contribute to it. We're part of this wider country, and I think that's the message I think needs to be shared loud and clear and from an authentic place. But yeah, we live in interesting times, but challenging times are also big opportunities. So let's harness them.
Viewers, I hope you have liked today's episode, and if you want to give us your questions or any feedback, you can email me. Billal, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
And I hope in future we will invite you again, because I think it's very important for the children that they should know that what is the leadership quality and what is the secret of the public speaking. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thank you.